Oh, well, welcome to episode 3 of our Golf Talk podcast by GNC, Golf Networking Club, and joined by my co-host, James Scurfield. Morning, James.
Good morning, Scott. How are you?
Good. We've got another fun-packed week to talk about, topics.
Yeah.
Lots to talk about in there. And before we get into that note, so for our listeners, thank you. So we've got the YouTube channel. It's also available on Spotify. The first couple of weeks have been amazing how many views and listens we've got, so we're really grateful for that. Please comment more if things you don't agree with us, things you agree with us. How many of you think that I'm better looking than James and younger looking, anything like that, comment in the comments. That would be awesome, particularly on YouTube. That would do us a favor in terms of supporting the channel. And it's basically just two average golfers. James slightly better than average. We'll talk about that in the podcast today, maybe. Just talking about golf, the topics, what's happened over the weekend and what's going on, and during this lockdown period, just bring you a bit of golf talk instead of being out there, which is really cool. So, any questions, any comments, anything like that, by all means, send them in to me. Send them in to me at team@golfnetworking.club, and then and we'll get them on the show, and that's cool. But James, before you kick into life, because I can see you're itching to go with some stats and stuff like that, talk about last weekend's golf, because it's been brilliant, this weekend's golf.
Yeah.
But, just going to have a word from our proud sponsor, Scurfield Associates. So we would like to thank our sponsors for supporting this podcast. They are Scurfield Associates, who help families protect their wealth now and in the future, ensuring their assets pass safely to their loved ones. For more information, check out their website, www.scurfieldassociates.co.uk, the Preservation of Wealth Specialist. Thank you for your support, James. And all the links are in the descriptions of the YouTube channel, so go and check them out. Cool, well, let's get straight into it. So our regular feature, just an update on the weekend's golf.
Yes.
I'll concentrate on the PGA Tour and the Euro Tour.
So.
And we'll start the PGA Tour. Brooks kept coming through, winning with 19 under.
I know, Brooksy baby.
Wow.
What a final round. Shooting 6 under par. Because we spoke in the last episode, didn't we? You mentioned Brooks is coming back.
Yeah.
And it was only until after his interview that we all realised the struggles he had with that knee, and how emotional it was. Looking to get back. Would he get back to his best?
It was nice to see that vulnerability in him, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I think there's so many more golfers that need to show more emotion and engage with the general public. It's quite easy to just do the sound bites, isn't it? And then you've got to have that personality come out.
Yeah, and the impression of him was a little bit of almost like I wouldn't say bully because it's a bit of a harsh word, but it was almost that bit of I'm just going to bulldoze everyone.
Yeah,
he did have that sort of kind of edge to him, didn't he? And it was really nice to see that.
Yeah, it was. It was very similar to the Tiger Woods issues with his back. He's now having that with his knees, because I remember he put on a lot of weight, didn't he? And then when Bryson put on weight, Brooks decided to take it off, and I think he took it off just to protect the knee, because there's obviously been issues. But delighted for him. I love seeing him. I love seeing him at the top of the leaderboard playing well.
Oh, yeah, I mean, and it was really weird because it's. I was thinking through that fourth round. There seemed to be a lot of excitement when we talk about it with Jordan Spieth in a minute, but but it just felt like a major, and then seeing Brooks come through like that, even made it more feel like a major, because that's what he does in majors, isn't it?
That's a good point, Scott. It did have that air to kind of like major feel. You could feel the tension, couldn't you? But he
keep swapping, didn't it? Because I don't know how many times people in the lead, but you had that you had Hahn come in there from nowhere, just all of a sudden like, wow, hang on, he's come from nowhere, he goes and sticks in the water.
I think Didn't Brooks bogey the second, and he was quite far down the leaderboard, and you just thought, no, like he wasn't really in the reckoning, and then shoots a final round of 6 under.
Yeah. He shot, as Zach said, I think he shot 4 birdies in his last 5 holes or something like that, didn't he?
Wow.
Oh, in 3 birdies and the eagle, obviously, that he had on 17, which is just unbelievable. You know, just thinking like,
Yeah.
If anyone hasn't seen it, he chips in on the 17th for an eagle, which is, and where he left himself, you're just thinking,
Beautiful shot, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Unbelievable shot.
The sprinklers were in his way. Where he wanted to land it were sprinkler heads.
Yeah.
And obviously, you can only move away from the sprinkler heads if you're within a club's length of it, can't you? And but the and it just that chip just unbelievable. So
yeah. Scott, also, I want to make a few points on that final round, which I found interesting. So, Xander Schauffele.
Yeah.
Again, Xander, yeah.
Yeah.
I can always remember a face. I'm never great with names. So if anyone's screaming at the podcast thinking James is pronouncing people incorrectly, Scoot Campbell, then please forgive me. But yeah, Xander, he was, again, final round, only shooting level par, final round. There's a pattern here. It's a mindset, Jordan Spieth finishes 4th in the end. Well played. Final round, 1 over. It's not good enough. Rory finishes tied 13th, yep. But classical Rory, when he's not in contention of winning the final round, shoots the final round of 7 under.
No pressure, is it?
No, exactly. We mentioned that, didn't we, in the other podcast? When he's classic for that. When there's completely no pressure, comes up from... Now, that's why sometimes the stats can be deceptive, because he can come from nowhere up to 13th, and it looks like he had a half-decent tournament. John Rahm as well finished 13th, shot 3 under, final round. And my guy, JT, he lost his granddad, didn't he?
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
He finished 13th as well, shot a 1 over round.
But he did well. Final round. It's really sad that obviously thoughts go out to him and his family, because he's it's been well public, how close he is with his granddad. So, but so to even play, but I mean the way he come back from that triple bogey on the 17th, the first round, and then the second round, the third round, I thought he was going to storm through the field yesterday. I thought he was, because he was lying. He was in the second from last group, wasn't he, Saints? He was only in 4th or 5th place, wasn't he? I thought he was going to storm through. So it was unfortunate.
It was. Yeah.
Going out to him.
But
hope he's got a will in place.
What, sorry?
Hope he's got a will in place. If not, Scurfield Associates. Yeah.
Bit late now, though. But anyway. What are we going to do now? We're going to talk about the other tournament in the European.
So we got that. Kept coming through in 19 under. The PGA Tour, it's a Pebble Beach this weekend. I mean, just an iconic course, Pebble Beach.
Yes.
The field is really disappointing. It's like
it is.
And it's not that far from Phoenix. I'm surprised a lot of them haven't gone out from Phoenix. I mean, you've got some. I almost thought it was a seniors tour I was looking at, because you've got John Daly, David Duval.
Yeah, that's right.
But but DJ's there. It's hard to see past. Paul Casey's out there, but it's hard to see past DJ or Paul Casey.
Yeah, I love every time I watch Dustin Johnson play golf. I just love him more and more. He'll never top Tiger, but yeah, he's definitely my second favorite golfer, without a doubt.
And in Euro Tour, we talked about off air before, and there's no events in the Euro Tour now after such a great event last week. There's no events now until March on the Euro Tour, which is it's a shame. So lots of great golf last weekend, not so much this week. Although, have you got a tip for this week then at Pebble Beach before we move on to the Euro?
Scott, sorry, just to be clear, who won the Saudi International?
Well, DJ won that. 15 under.
Who predicted him to win?
We both said, I did check back. You did say DJ.
Of course I did, yeah. DJ.
But you got in there before me, because if we look at all your major predictions as well, if you go back to episode 1, we make our predictions for the major.
Yeah.
And you've got the safest bets ever in the world.
Oh, they're not the safest bets. They're my predictions.
Yeah. Yeah, you really went left field with that. So, but I did check the podcast. We both said, I did say that it's hard to look past DJ on last week. But again, some really, really good performances there. And I mean, his putting was, I mean, the only thing is,
he didn't putt well. He didn't putt well all round in the final round, did he? And if he did, he'd have won by about 6 or 7.
Yeah, if he'd been putting any decent third or fourth round, he would have won that by 10. 7 shots. So that's the only thing that, even though it looked close, it always felt like, I don't know if to you watching, it was a good tournament, but it always felt like he had another gear to go into as well.
Definitely, yeah. Well, the final round, one of the commentators said he played kind of B golf, which I completely understood. Having chances for birdie and just couldn't read the greens. But your guy again, Tony Finau, I don't know. I think he needs to thank you personally, or maybe write you a kind. Maybe a Valentine's coming up. Maybe send you a Valentine's card, because he finished second, but he shot a final round of 3 under. But again, I don't know if it's a mindset again. But he bogeyed 2 of the final 3 holes. Like, that's the business end of the whole tournament. Why?
If you look at his position, right, and score compared to him and I know Saudi and Brooks over in PGA Tour in Phoenix, right, their rounds very similar. And if you look at the last 9 holes, how Brooks goes and gets that done, goes to another level, Finau drops down another level.
Yeah,
and that's.
Is that is that the golfer? Is that a part of the caddy? Maybe should they change strategies towards the final few holes?
It's difficult because it's hard to say. And he's never been a great putter, so I think that's part of the problem. So when you're not a great putter at that level, under pressure is even worse. I think we saw that even with if you look a bit, it's a bit like and he might have the sort of career that Bernard Langer's had, right? Bernard Langer struggled with
the Formula One driver.
No, that's Bernard Gerhard, isn't it? Gerhard Berger. No, Bernard Langer. If you look at his putting over his years, when he went to that broom thing that was taller than him, his putting was terrible. But you look at the tournaments, but I think he only won a couple of majors. So I think it's similar to Finau, where if they're not great putters anyway, under pressure, it buckles. But I think, though, if he'll be interested, he'll get that second win soon, I reckon. And then that'll be my prediction, that he'll win. I mean, I've gone down for one of the majors, haven't I? And I think that will project him. What he needs to stop doing, Spieth. We've been talking about Jordan Spieth, and it was just awesome to see him come through as he did last week. To have that sort of week was brilliant. To see Jordan Spieth back to his best a little. But like Jordan Spieth, he needs that one big week where for him, but he needs a big win, doesn't he, Tony? And
I know. I think the longer these go on, the harder and harder it becomes. But Justin Rose, we spoke about him in a few podcasts, haven't we? He finished tied second. He had a chance, an eagle, didn't he, at the end? He just unfortunate, but he could have got second outright. But great play to him. A couple of other shout-outs. Till Hatton finished tied 6th. Thomas Peters, the young star that made the Ryder Cup a number of years ago, finished tied 10th.
Yeah, he's been quiet.
He's been very quiet. Yeah, he is. I thought he would have kicked on and winning more tournaments. It just shows the competition, doesn't it, and how good they all are. Garcia 12th. Casey was my pick, wasn't he?
You
It's
did
my
say no. I
second.
did check. It was a good shout by
He
you,
came
actually, 'cause
12th as well. Yeah.
you're probably around top 10.
Yeah, I did, didn't I? Because
Nobody,
it's hard emotionally winning and then traveling to another tournament to then completely different circumstances. But our guy Beef, unfortunately missed the cut, which was a shame.
yeah,
The cut of
yeah.
beef.
As well, when
Yeah.
you win, you probably lose a day out of preparation because it's probably a bit overhung, isn't it? So you probably lose a day out of preparation than you normally would on a normal tournament.
Yep, that's
But
right.
it's a shame
So
about Beef. But
yeah.
we've got the PGA. Any predictions? I mean, it's not a great field. Hard to see
It's
past
not
PGA.
a great field, yeah. DJ with his B game could probably win by 1 or 2, couldn't he? But let's go with. I noticed Knox is on the field, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go with him.
I'm gonna go. Other than it's hard to see past DJ or Casey, but I'd love to see Casey win over in America to back that up. I think that'd be brilliant.
Oh, that would be a phenomenal, wouldn't it?
I think he's going to have a good week. There's two people I think are going to have. I think Patrick Cantley's going to have a good week. I think he'll be there thereabouts. I think he'll just be pipped, but I think he'll be there or thereabouts. But I think the one, and my prediction is that he'll be leading in round 3, right? But then he's going to fall away. Is Jason Day.
Jason Day, okay.
I know he's missed the last 2 cuts, but then Brooks has missed the last 3 cuts. But I think Jason Day in that field, but I can't see him. I can see Paul Casey, DJ in the last round, and Cantley going all up. Sure. And my real outside from the heart one, I'd love to see John Daly have a good tournament. What would that be like?
Yeah, and then Scalabia on the 18th. That'd be brilliant.
Right, so let's crack on then. Okay. So your topic. So I'm going to talk we're going to go straight to your. It's almost like your regular stats show now. You're like Stato. Do you remember that old show? What was that show with Beadle and Skinner with Stato?
That was the football program. What was it called? And I remember they used to all sit on that old sofa, and Stato used to sit in his pajamas, didn't he?
And then the Stato blood, didn't he? Stato.
And was it Rick Astley used to sing them out?
Probably.
Was it Rick Astley?
You're older than me.
So that will. I'm what? Younger than you, yeah.
A couple of years. Right. So Stato.
Yeah. Anyway.
Stato, go on. So your first topic, you got some stats, haven't you? You want to go through?
Yeah. So last week you did ask, you'd be keen to see the putting stats. So year to date, on average, the golfers, again, it's a shame number one is they only played 12 rounds, but on average, we're looking probably about 22 rounds in total.
Over what period?
Of the last 22 rounds.
Okay.
Okay, played. Year. Yeah. Checking on the PGA Tour stats, though, there's probably about, I'd say, 40 different putting stat options. So I just thought I'd go with kind of the overall who's the best putter out there. Top 10, 10th Ben Taylor, 9 Justin Sue, 8th. I don't know hardly any of these really. 8th Johnson Wagner, 7th Louis Oosthuizen, 6th Xander Schauffele.
Yeah, is it? I wonder, because it's not going to, other than like Teaser Green, where you're probably seeing matches, people topping the world, people winning tournaments. Is it the opposite with putting in? Because the ones that got the good putting stats are the ones that are just missing the greens a lot.
That's the thing. That's like I said, with all stats, you can interpret them any way. If you're missing every green, then you've got the worst greens in regulation. But if you're chipping right near the hole and taking the gimme putt, you're only, you're having so few putts. But
I had a round last year where, I mean, my putting generally, it's not too bad. But I had a round last year where I had 25 putts, right?
Okay.
But I still shot.
Wow.
Yeah, but I still shot
Still shot
9
110.
with everything else. And what it was this wasn't even my second shot. My first shots weren't even hitting the green, but everything was just off the green. You know, it seemed like everything was just off the green, and so all the putts were. It literally felt like every putt was within 5 feet. You know,
Yeah.
because my chipping was the one thing that was working was my chipping around the green. So it can be misleading to such, can't it?
Yeah, it can. So if I just I'll quickly finish it off. So the fifth, Brendan Todd. Fourth,
Yeah.
Peter Malantani.
Yeah, Melatonin. Yeah,
Okay.
it's interesting.
Three. Yeah, go on.
That's quite interesting because he's starting to push up the leaderboard a bit now, isn't he? Show up on the leaderboard a bit more.
A little bit. Three, Ollie Schneiderjans. Second, Patrick Reed.
Really?
Boo.
When you say that, I mean, is that after he's like moved it a couple lengths, or is that?
No, the first one he gets to roll it near the hole. He's allowed that. He can roll it near the hole,
Right.
and then he can putt. He gets a
He
free
probably,
roller.
he probably gets his caddy to run up to the green first and roll a couple of balls out. But
Yeah.
it's funny and not funny, but it was bit pain. He went over to Saudi, didn't he? And didn't have a particularly great week, which meant that Brooks Koepka's knocked him out of the automatic Ryder Cup spots at the moment.
Oh.
But and I don't think if Patrick Reed doesn't get in automatically, I don't think he's getting in.
No, he won't be picked. No.
But the
Captain America, they call him, don't they?
Yeah. On his Twitter, he got a bit cascaded because there's a lot of comments around don't go and cheat in Saudi, they cut your hands off over there.
Yeah. Can't be messing around there.
Last week that he was going out to a place like Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. Scott, and in first place, a guy called Andy Ogletree.
Never heard of him.
No, nor have I. But congratulations, Andy, on your number one on these putting stats. Andy, if you're listening, reach out. We'd love to hear from you.
How are you spelling it?
OG, Andy, it's... Okay. While you're doing that, I'll just give you a couple of shout outs. So Brooks Koepka's 16th, which I found was interesting. Justin Thomas, my guy, number 24. Tyrrell Hatton's 30th.
Tony Finau.
Tony Finau. I made a note because I knew you'd want to know him. 105th.
Yeah, that's his problem right there.
Casey is 152nd. DJ, which I was surprised, 106th.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised because I think.
Yeah, I know.
You just think if he's putting well, he's going to win a tournament at the moment. You know, he's like, and even like Saudi didn't putt well, he still won the tournament.
That's right. A couple final few shout outs. Lee Westwood, 45th. Matt Wallace, 46th. Then we've got Rory McIlroy. We've got Ian Poulter, 63rd, and Rory McIlroy, 64th.
Okay.
So yeah.
What about Bryson? Did you make a note of Bryson?
Yeah, Bryson. He was about 80th, I think. Okay. Don't quote me on that one, but about that.
Okay. How did you spell that player's name? OG.
Let's have a look. Ogletree.
Right. Where was he? Oh, I thought he wasn't even going to be on Wikipedia.
He retired 4 years ago. No, I'm joking.
God, hasn't even got his world ranking. So
really?
On Wikipedia, yeah. So
I'll be able to find it now. Hold on.
Yeah.
So he is Scott.
Yeah. Apparently, last year he was tied 34th in the Masters. But he's only 22, young lad.
Yeah, leave the guy alone, eh?
Yeah. Maybe we will have. This is where you heard of him first, yeah?
Come on, Andy. Yeah, Andy Ogletree.
It'd be funny if he wins this
We
week.
should do. Why don't we do play? We should check the odds. Why don't we? We should. I'm gonna keep an eye. I'm gonna do a player watch on him. Actually, I think that'd be quite fun. One
I
thing
imagine
I was.
William Hill, Bet365, and all the other ones. I imagine they'll go who? Spell that for me.
Or a bit like GME and AMC in the markets, he might start rallying up. His price might start changing.
Very topical.
Anyway,
Topical. Very topical. Cool. Is that your stats one then? Was that your?
Yeah. Well, I've got another stat question, which shall I?
Okay.
I'm just conscious of time. We're
punning into it. Right. Let me go. We'll come back to your other stat one then.
Okay. Go on then.
So, I want to talk about us for a minute then.
Yes. Right? Okay.
And this is cool because this might start an argument, might not. I don't know. The best and worst that you think about my game is, and I think about your game. But start with the worst, so we end on a nice tone.
Okay. So what? The worst part of your game?
Worst part of my game, and then the best part of my game.
Okay. The worst part of your game is you just simply don't hit the ball far enough.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'll take that as the worst.
No, it is though. It's you're making it. You've got a lovely swing, but you're just you know I'm talking from the heart, but you're just tapping the ball. You're not smashing it. You know, like a controlled smash, but. Yeah. You're just so far, you know. So hold on, Scott. So on average, what club are you hitting into your general par fours? So you tee off with a driver. Yeah. What are you normally hitting on average? What club?
I would say more than anything, I'm probably hitting. I'm always finding I'm 6 irons a lot.
6
irons. And I would say 6 iron, and obviously the ones where. If it's a longer par, if it's an over 400 yard par 4, I'm hitting a wood into the.
Yeah. See, you know, if if every hole I had to hit a 6 iron, I would be. What would I be? I would probably be. So I play off what 7 or 8. I would probably be 18, 20 handicapper. It's just so far to go. So on average, what are you hitting the driver? Just for our listeners to get some sort of context.
I'm actually 220 on a
220. Okay.
Yeah, I would say there's the odd one where hit it well, but I would say on average it's got to be around that 220 mark. I look at. Right, the only thing that I have is that where
I can hit a 4. I can hit a 4 iron 220.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And I have been working with a little weights thing on a club thing with the build up the swing speed. But one of the things is that I felt my swing. Which is annoying that we got into lockdown because it was kind of getting in a position where I finally get in a position where I felt I could throw the club through, if you like. So already when we played last, even though it was wet, I was actually hitting the ball slightly further than I was normally hitting it, even though it was wet and damp because of I think I'm now finally got a position where I can throw the club through faster. So it'd be interesting that one.
You should try and work on, what Bryson's done, where he's tried to increase everything. Maybe try and do that.
I've got a weight thing. I found an old thing that I bought years ago. All these trainer things we buy, and I saw it down my shed with golf stuff.
Yeah.
It's a big weight thing that goes around the end of a club. So I've got an old club that I'm swinging that. It's a bit like a speed stick sort of type thing, really. So we'll see how that gets done. But I do feel like my swing. It'll be interesting once we get out there, but I do feel like my swing now allows me to swing through faster, because when I did try to add some pace to it before the start of last year, I was all over the place.
Okay.
And the one thing I do, I suppose that
do you do any exercise? Do you do any specific hip turns and exercise specifically for the golf swing?
No, apart from sort of kind of, I do try and a little bit of exercise, going to and from the biscuit barrel. So, that.
But but that's something I'm always working on, kind of just twisting the body and doing different exercises, golf related.
No, I have been. I've been working more on the technical bit, if you like, from the transition part from with the shoulder that Nick told me about. So which is working really well. So
Just hit the ball
and,
harder, mate. Stop being a
yeah.
yeah.
But I want to keep my accuracy, see, because that's
Yeah, well, just smash it as far as you can, and then worry about where the ball goes. Just walk up to it and then hit the next one. The best part of your game, is there one?
oh. Remember, I've got to go with you. Yeah, I've got to go with
I
you.
know.
So.
I'm no. What's the best part of your game? You do have a lovely swing. But what is the best part of your game? Probably your putting.
Nothing.
No. Actually, no. I don't think it is. I think your swing. You've got a lovely swing. If is that what you want to be hearing or not?
No, well, not really, because you see people with all sorts of swing. You know, you would say
Okay, right.
But I like that my swing is.
Scott,
is
do you
smooth.
remember? Do you remember that round we had at Chigwell, and you seemed to be on most par fours? You seemed. What distance were you? I think you used your sand wedge, and you were hitting the wedge shots beautifully into the green. Do you remember that round?
Yeah. Is that the one I beat you like 5 and 3 or something?
Yeah, that's when you did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're you did, didn't you? You beat me 5 and 3, something like that. But your game then, but your whatever distance. What distance was that roughly? 70 yards, 80 yards?
Yeah, that sort of stuff. I purposely started leaving myself 70 to like 70 yards around, 78 yards. So
that was So that was when you're playing well from that distance, you're hard to beat. Although I have to give you a few shots, you're hard to beat. So I would say your general wedge play. Yeah,
and I think that's where my smooth swing, because of the smoothness of my swing, if you like, then it allows me to be a lot more consistent with my yardage.
Definitely, yeah, I agree with that.
And I'm quite accurate, if you like. I think, if I had to say my best, it's like my accuracy of my shots, if you like, rather than the distance.
You're never really in the rough, are you? Ever?
No. All right, so your best.
Yeah, I'm intrigued.
Well, your worst. I mean, quite a long list there.
Okay.
Quite a long list. It's like I'm still scrolling. It's funny actually. I thought this question, and I was trying not to preempt myself, if you like, so that it was more like on the spot, if you like. But but your worst one, I think, is when you're not playing well. Right, one, you're not sure where you're going to hit it. It's either going to go far right or you're going to do proper hook. But when you're not playing well at all, even if it's very early in the round, your etiquette, your world around you, just goes out the window. It's like you're the worst person to be around. It's always that's why I think I like the games where we've had like a lot of close games, and the ones where like I prefer beating you when you're playing well when you're not playing well, if you like, but there's also you're just like, you can't go near James. It's like, and you'll be like,
explain more.
Example, there was one example. I can't remember where were we? We were Brentwood, I think we were. Okay. And you was having a shocker, and so we were playing. I can't remember who he was playing with, but you were just then playing. You were just in your own game then, just playing your own game. So you'd like, could you out driving it still by about 50, 100 yards or whatever. You're just going to be playing your second shot from the middle of the fairway, or your third or fourth shot the way you was playing that day. And where we were behind you, so we were like waiting to play a shot. So you were just like playing your shots and then walking ahead, and you was just.
Oh really?
Because you was having a shocker, and you're like that. When you have a shocker, when you start going bad, you're like, well,
I'm probably, yeah, I apologise. I'm probably thinking, come on, lads, let's get round.
When you're having a great round, you're like, look at me. Let's all have fun.
No, I appreciate that. I didn't know that. I'll work on that part.
But it is, I mean,
is that
difficult?
Yeah.
I think you have now, and I always kind of.
I'm pretty.
To answer, if you have a couple of, like, if you have a triple bogey in the first few holes, for instance, and a double bogey, you're round fucked almost, is it? Or sorry, you're round, isn't it? You know, so it's like.
Yeah, that's right. It's kind of like, well, I now have to shoot. I now have to shoot level par. You know, that's why. You know, but it doesn't help. It doesn't help. You know, teeing off. You know, pulling up to the. You know, pulling into the car park, getting out, and then teeing off straight away. So.
No. Yeah. But that's your worst thing, I would say. Is that it's just your lack of.
So when I'm not playing well, I'm not smiling. Yeah, is that what you're saying? When I'm not playing well, I'm not smiling.
Your etiquette goes out the window as well. It's like you'll be looking
at
a shot.
Is that all the time?
Yeah, a lot of time. I would say when you're not playing well, right? I guarantee you that there'll be a hole in, and you do come through it. I think that I naturally have fun with you and wind it and probably push it a bit too far when I know you're not playing well. But with the banter, but then there'll be a hole. I guarantee you, if you've had a few bad holes, right, that in the next 3 holes, there'll be a hole where I'm like 70, 80 yards out, look at my shot, and you're on the green putting.
Really?
And you're like, and you'll know this, you'll remember this, you'll go, come on, really? Hurry up, come on, hurry up.
You do. Oh yeah, you are a very slow golfer. Sorry, I've had my chance. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was having an between that and your speed of your putting, your speed on the greens. But I'll save that for another time,
mate.
I was having an between the two, yeah. But the the other one, what's it? Your best part, though. So your best part of your game, I think will surprise you a little bit. I think your best part of your game is putting inside 10 foot. Or actually, it's more specific, that 5 to 10 foot.
Okay.
I think if I had to have a teammate with me, you know, and we've got a putt to win, we've got an 8 foot putt to win the whole thing. I would probably want you putt. As much as I hate to say it, I'd probably want you putting that.
Thank you. Coming up to Valentine's, I'm feeling the love. Thank you very much.
You spend 10 hours looking at the putt before you putt it is, you know, but the 5 to 10 foot specifically, I think, because I think that's an area I've been trying to kind of work on. You know, I've changed my putter after 21 years. Maybe we'll talk about clubs at another time, but I changed my putter 21 years because I realised that as much as I'm a good putter, I'm a good lag putter. I know that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I lag from 40 feet, but I also lag from 4 feet. So it's I sort of kind of two putt from everywhere. But that 5 to 10 feet, I think that's the difference between making your round. That if you're between breaking 80 and not breaking 80, for example.
Yeah.
And there's so many holes where I think I've got you because you've chipped 8 foot past, 10 foot past, and then you just drain the putt so many times after, like, one after the other. So that's I would say that's your best part.
Thank you. Do you know what? I appreciate that. I'm glad you've made me aware of that.
Well, what would you have thought if he was? What would you thought your best thing is? If you like?
What would I have thought my best would? I thought you'd have just said generally an easy one would have just been your general distance with every club you can hit it. But no, I'm delighted with that. That's great to hear.
Yeah. Well, that's the only compliment you're going to get in this podcast ever.
Thank you.
Cool. Right, so that was good. I thought that was good because it's more about us two. Then,
really. That was. Scott, because I've still got 3 more. I haven't even mentioned any of my questions yet, have I? Now I'm just conscious of time as well. Shall we just do one and then we'll save it for next week or not?
Just do one of yours and then save the one for next week.
Shall I do a stat one, or we've done a few stats, haven't we? So, okay, I'll save the stat one because I don't want to do too many stats in a podcast. But so my question to you is, do you think the pros? So the RNA and the USGA, they did a distance inside report, which Rory McIlroy spoke about before the waste management tournament, and they spent millions of dollars looking at this report about the general distance and equipment used for pro golfers. And Rory just blatantly said that, 99% of all golfers, us lot, we need kind of the new technology for the ball to go further. But I was my question to you would be, do you think for the pros, do you think equipment should stop, or do you think they should use a specific ball? Any thoughts on that, or just carry on as they are?
I think there is a limit, I think, for the pros. I think there's a different game between the pros and the amateurs for starters.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I think that you can't stop, or you shouldn't stop the manufacturers making clubs, if you like, for the amateurs, if you like,
Yeah.
Because they're trying to limit Rory down to, or trying to limit Bryson down to 280 yards. Would probably equivalent me hitting a driver 100 yards, So I don't think it's not something that it's one size fits all, one solution fits all. I think with the pros, that where they're getting so technically good because of the analytics they've got and stuff like that, that there's some simple things that the length of club they should limit, for example, because it's not an issue for me and you, because if at our level we try and hit a 47-inch driver, it's going to go all over the place, right? But for a pro to get a 47-inch driver and spend 2 months working on it, practice, like practicing with it 4 hours a day, they're going to learn to hit it fairly decent. But even DJ, didn't he say over the weekend that he tried a 47-inch driver, something like that, 46 and a half. He got 20 yards extra, but his dispersion was all over the place.
Yeah,
so he'd rather
exactly.
be on the and have 20 yards. I think Rory's comments were fantastic in terms of
they were.
Where the money should be spent. I don't think it's a simple issue. I think with the clubs have probably not got enough communication with the clubs as well, or the manufacturers, rather than trying to put all these things, is have conversations with the manufacturers, and understand from them and how to. But I think the drivers, I think, have hit their peak, I think, in terms of technology, unless it's like Formula One, where all of a sudden, they create something that's like a rear, like in Formula One, they had the rear diffuser a few years ago, and it was just so much better. And as long as they don't create a technology that all of a sudden adds to like 40 yards without doing nothing, for example, but just limit the length of the clubs, and just make the courses more tighter with the rough. Because what we do find is that with the courses where they're rough, like Jordan Spieth had a fantastic round, right? He's good. I think if you look at his driving stats and the way he was driving all over the place, the difference between his round 3 and round 4 was he got away with round 3 with how many lies he had in the rough and in the weights and stuff like that. Round 4, he just didn't get away with him. So if you put if the rough is difficult, and particularly around the greens, as we see in the US Opens and stuff like that, and the British Opens, then that's how you make the courses slightly tougher like that. But I don't think you can, because they keep talking about the driver and the ball. Yeah, my thing is, you got someone hitting an iron, a 6 iron, 220 yards. So even if they limit all the drivers, most of these players.
What about if they went? Scott, what about if they went to just a standard ball? Just took a lot of, so every tour event, manufacturers still selling their golf balls, but tournament ball is just a kind of more of a basic ball. where they're not getting as much spin. I don't know if that exists, or maybe, I don't know. It just,
they'll find a note if you have a ball no with no spin. So I reckon even if you took a two-piece Pinnacle Gold, right?
what about a what about a
spinning.
range ball? What about if they had to use a 90% range ball?
You'll
No,
be
but
having a.
just keen to gather your thoughts on that. I don't think they should change it. But
Well, for me, I'm looking at. I don't. It's like the only thing I don't understand that I can't see correlations is you're not seeing. You're seeing like 19 under win a tournament, right?
yeah,
But I think that's fair enough. A professional should be hitting three or four under a round, five under a round. You're not seeing records. You're not seeing like every week 40 unders winning the tournament. You're not seeing 60. Like
yeah,
Space 61 was amazing, right? Because if you're seeing, even if like Andy Ogletree shot, you're not seeing him shoot 61 every week,
come
right?
on, Andy, yeah.
So I think if you start seeing players and the tournament winning is like 35, 40 under, so I can't see an issue with it. I can't see an issue with the stats from.
Okay.
Because it's happened all throughout. I mean, Jack Nicklaus was a massive hitter. Freddie Couples, when Tiger come on tour, you can't. They're going to find ways, to hit it further.
But do you think in like 10, 15, 20 years time, do you think, they're going to be driving the ball 400, 500 yards, stuff,
Well, I think what they should do, where the money should be spent, and Rory's absolutely spot on. If you haven't seen his thing, he's spot on. He talks about the money should be spent and stuff like that. Be put back in. But I think they just have a list of materials that are not allowed to be used in the pro circuit. So titanium, carbon should not be able to be used in the driver, for example, right?
Wow. Okay.
And then if you, and then almost, and if you really want to do it, go right, no, or if actually no grooves makes it spin less, doesn't it? So it'll probably improve them or something like that. But irons, no grooves, more grooves, and you must have grooves. A bit like Formula One a few years ago. Again, when they made them put grooves on the tires, you've got to have grooves on the tires to slow them down.
Okay.
So you had to have grooves on the driver, and then you also had to. There was some material not allowed to be used. That would be.
So you would recommend that? You'd be in favour of that then, yeah? Okay.
I'd be favour them going. There's these certain materials you can't use as a club manufacturer. You can't use these materials. And,
okay. But I wouldn't want that to impact us lot. No. As Roy said, the 99% of all the other golfers in the world. Yeah. We do want to get that extra yardage and a bit more forgiveness. So it's just from his interview, because he always talks with so much passion and he's always so open, which I love. I just thought I'd find out. Okay, what's your question, Scott?
So right, I think that's the worst. I was going to talk about clubs things, but I think we'll get too into it. I'm going to save that one for next week. All right, just so golfing goals for 2021.
Pardon?
Golfing goals for 2021.
My golfing goals.
Yeah, because I reckon we're
okay.
Hopefully, if all goes well, and we don't see another lockdown number 4, whatever. But we should be back on the golf course end of March, shouldn't we? Mid-March, hopefully.
Yep.
So we've still got plenty of time, if you like, before the summer and all that. So what's your goals for 2021 with your own golf game?
Okay, so I don't know if I'd have enough practice and actual gameplay to get to a solid five handicap. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think that's going to take a lot of work. But I would. My goal would be to consistently hit more 70s, get in the 70s more. Okay. That would be my goal personally.
What's your best round ever?
My best round ever. On a proper course. Would you class Cranham as a proper course?
I played it.
Never played it. Well, it's quite a short. It's,
60.
no. It's par. What is it? It's par. I think it's par 70 or something like that. But I was
It's short.
3 over.
Okay.
And then on the I was 3 over, and then on the last hole I got a triple bogey, par 3. So I finished 6 over. But I've shot rounds.
In your mind, that's 3 over, yeah? You're telling people you shot 3 over, yeah?
Yeah, up to 17 holes, and then the 18th, I got 3. I was 3 over on the 18th, which is annoying.
Your coach, Patrick Reed.
Yeah, exactly. But my best rounds I've shot 70, 78, 76. No, 78 is my best round.
You shot 78 with me, haven't you? Against me?
I've shot a couple of 79s. So last year I shot 2 or 3 79s, but I want to get my scoring down more consistent. So, okay, my goal would probably be no more than like an 82 then. Let's do it that way. No more than like 10 over par. So try and get, because whenever I have a bad hole, when sometimes I tee off and I have a bad hole,
yeah,
it's a very bad hole.
Yeah.
It's like,
because predominantly when you have a bad hole, you're losing the tee, aren't you? If you have a bad shot at the tee, you're losing the ball, aren't you, off the tee?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So I think just okay. So I'll change mine. So just generally more tighten up the game, keep it a bit more consistent.
We're going to talk about more. I want to ask a question. I'm going to save it for next week. Now we're going to talk about equipment actually next week.
Yeah. Okay.
A bit. Okay. So
what's your goal then?
So mine is to play. I want to play by the end of the year. Be playing it off a 12, but when I say 12, not like the handicap we get to go, because it takes a couple off you, didn't it? I want to be, so for me, shooting 12 over par as an average round.
So no more than 84, 85. So the round we last played, you shot an 85.
Yeah.
So that's your benchmark, maybe a bit below.
Yeah. And 84 is my best round. So my first goal is to shoot, to break that early on in the year.
Is 84 your best ever round?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I've done twice. Again, I did have a round where I shot something like 74, but it was barely a par 4 course. It was like a course up in Cambridgeshire, which is like 6 par 3s and 2 or 3 par 4s, and that was it. I don't count that. Yeah. But or if their par 4s are like 210 yards, whereas I was a par 4, so I didn't count that. But I've had 84 twice, and yeah, so my aim would be to beat that first of all. But I think for me to be consistently, so a bad round is for me is 90, or 88. If I'm like 88 or 89, if I'm 18 over, for example, 18 bogeys, well, that's a bad round for me.
Yeah.
Whereas, so 12 under, hitting that around regularly, but then also the main goal for me on the back of that is then to break 80 on a par.
You're not going to, Scott. I don't want to burst your bubble, mate, but you're not going to do all that this year, are you?
Oh, you say that, but I've broken 40 now, quite a few times for a 9.
Yeah.
But I've either had a really poor front 9 or poor back 9 to back it up.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I mean, if you take Chidwell, for example, which I played quite a lot, obviously, then I've on both 9s, I've had 38s on both 9s. So,
okay, let's use Chigwell as the benchmark then. So what do you want to be shooting? You want to be shooting 84s there, 85 at the most.
Yeah, I had an 85 last year, didn't I, against you last year, which was my best round there. But I've had a lot of 87, 88s around there. But I want to be shooting, for me, a course like that I know well. Yeah, 84, 85 as a kind of, that's an average, and then a really good round, if I'm really on it, then I should be like, well, actually I've got a chance of breaking 80 going into the last few holes.
So I think at Chigwell for me, I think I'm not sure if I've shot a 79 there. I think that was at Brentwood, but it's normally 80 or 82s. Sometimes it's 84, which is a bad round for me. But yeah, I'm just trying to like everyone get more consistent. I think as well, I might try and work on that, work out how many pars I need every round and throw in a couple of birdies here and there. I think that would be key. So yeah.
Yeah, but that'd be mine to break. Yeah, break.
Okay.
Because it's like the.
Well, do you know what?
At Chigwell, I've been 1 over par gross after 6 holes. I've had that twice last year at Chigwell.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, I've played some 9s or front or back, like 1 over. That's what gets me. Do you remember? I don't know if you were playing with me, but I remember I got back-to-back birdies. I birdied the 8th and birdied the 9th there.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, wow, and you look at the scorecard and you're like, well, after 9 you're only 1 over, come on. And then it's that mindset, and it's that getting more familiar with being at that level and then kicking on.
Yeah. I mean, I had that one where we shot. Well, I shot 85 against you at Chigwell last year.
Yeah.
And I think I won did I win the first 6 holes? Was that I was 6 up after 6?
Something silly like that.
Yeah. And I was literally.
I had to give you what, 9 shots? Was it 9 shots I had to give you?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Probably 5. But I was literally. I think I was one. I think I was 2 over gross after 7 holes.
Yeah.
But then my mindset changed a little bit in terms of protecting that. Whereas, like I was then thinking, oh, if I just get a bogey a hole now, I'll be, whereas actually. So my mindset is a bit like Tony Finau, really, that when I had that good start, I've got to stay in that zone. So that's why I think there's an 80 in me to break 80. Yeah. But and like Blake's where I shot 85 and I left loads of holes shots out there.
It might be better. It might be better to work it out a different way. So, for example, if you bogey every hole, then you're going to be shooting a 90, aren't you?
Yeah.
So why don't you try and work out that if you get, I don't know, you must get 6 pars in a round. Try and work it out more in a positive way.
When I looked at it last.
So I want to be parring 3 pars on the front 9, 3 on the back 9. Yeah.
And for me, it's the and then 1 birdie in there, which will so. I normally have kind of probably even a good round, just 1 birdie on a round. But I need like.
Do you normally birdie a hole every round or not?
Not every round, but on my good rounds, I'll have 1 birdie in there if you like. But what I would say is
a birdie's a bonus, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but where I changed my mentality before we went into lockdown, which seemed to improve me, was that I was going into the holes with I've got to give myself a putt for par. Right. So that way allowed me to, like, rather than if I'd had a bad drive or something like that, or instead of trying to hit a 3-wood to a par 4, I was happy going it, just laying up and then having my wedge. Because if I'm going in with my wedge from 70 yards, I'll kind of back myself to get up and down in 3 from 70 yards, even at my level. So if I'm giving myself a putt for par, then aren't I?
Yeah.
And actually just doing that, just going, right, get myself a putt for par, because then hole the odd ones, but then worst case scenario, it's a bogey, but I'm going to hole. And then I'm going to be on greens in, like, if I hit like par 3s in 1 or par 4s in 2, then I'm going, well, actually I've got it should be a tap-in par, if you like, so that's something as well. When I get the birdie opportunities, it's not get excited, if you like, and then just go, right, I'm going to walk off with a par. And if it drops, it drops, but it's a bonus.
Yeah, I understand that.
Cool. Well, another fun-packed show. I think we're going to have to end it there because we've gone way over.
I know, we have.
15, so quite a fun-packed show. Awesome. Thanks, Jace.
Yeah. Cheers, mate.
We'll be back next week. Can you be available on YouTube, obviously, and Spotify, and And also check out Instagram, obviously, because then we put the updates on Instagram when the show's out, and a little bit of a promo there with your.
No, I was just like the news where they tap their. That wasn't deliberate, by the way. That was where they. I've got all my notes here. So do you know when they finish up like that? And that's the end of the news.
You're definitely
It's snowing. There's COVID, and
yeah. I hope we're gonna. So I hope we'll be out on the golf course soon. But we'll be back next week. So we're going to start. We're going to continue doing these every week. As soon as we can get on the golf course, we'll have some videos on the golf course and stuff like that. So subscribe to the YouTube channel. Would be awesome. And yeah, and any comments, any questions, anything like that, any things you want us to debate, really.
Or any topics, yeah.
How can we, get into each other a little bit? We're going to try and get. People see us on the golf course, James, and see, people that don't know us see us on the golf course. Sometimes wonder, go, "Whoa, that's a bit harsh," but that bit of banter that we have, and we try and bring some of that.
I do enjoy playing golf with you, mate. It's always a pleasure.
Awesome. Hope you'll be out soon. Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, there was a correction, by the way. I was looking through the last podcast. I think we should do these amendments if we get any stats wrong.
Yeah.
There was one big one from last week when I was watching back on it that you mentioned. You said something about the last time we played you won, and I just want to remind you that last time we played, I beat you by one shot.
No, you beat me by you did, didn't you? No, you finished one up, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I beat you on score, didn't I? I shot an 80, you shot an 85, but the match play game, you won. Yeah, you won one up.
Okay, so you'll get that. Yeah.
Is that the first time we've played this year?
No, that was last year. That wasn't even this year. We haven't played this year. That was last year.
Oh wow, yeah.
Because you put it on your Instagram.
Oh my god.
Last round of the year.
Oh my god. Wow. We haven't even played this year yet. Of course.
February the 9th. Or whenever you're watching this.
And look at look at the goals you're trying to set yourself this year.
Oh yeah, I know, but I feel like
personally, the best thing you should do is after this podcast, just roll off your chair, hit the floor, and just start doing some press ups or just trying to move around and get a bit more strength in your body. That's what you should be doing, mate.
Call me fat?
No, I'm not calling you fat. Get more strength in your body. Yeah.
I'm going to come back like Bryson after the first lockdown.
Yeah. Imagine if you're hitting the ball as far as me. That would be an interesting game.
Imagine would be a good.
Well, do you know what we should do?
Go on.
We should
Texas Scramble.
We should maybe play whenever we next play. Maybe we'll play a game wherever So what we'll do is, why don't we work out? I don't know how we could do this, but we play a round, and I play a round from your tee shot and see what I score, and you play a round from my tee shot. I don't know if that could work.
No, because I'm more accurate than you, so it's that.
Yeah, fair enough. It was good in my head. It was a good idea in my head.
Maybe on the.
Oh, you're still recording. Okay.
Yeah, if it's fairway ones, absolutely. If it was fairways, maybe we'll see. We'll have to come up soon. Well, anyway, I'm going to end it there because it's an hour and 20 minutes, so we're into this quite a bit.
Oh wow!
And awesome show. Thank you, James.
Cheers, Scott. You take care, bruv.
See you next week, guys.
Yep. See you later, guys and girls. Yep. Take care.